Hello everyone, how are you today? I hope you are all fine. Today we will move on to our next topic inside pronouns. So far, it is important for you to take into consideration these first 2 points. Number 1, pronouns can be divided in 7 categories: personal, possessive, reflexive, emphatic, reciprocal, demonstrative, and also indefinite pronouns. And number 2, pronouns fulfill functions which are similar to those of nouns, that is to say, subject, direct or indirect object, and also complements of the preposition. Pronouns are related to nouns which are called antecedent and come before them. Let's start by reviewing personal pronouns. Personal pronouns are the ones that name people, animals, and even objects. They can take 2 forms, subject or object form. Let's start with the subject form. As the name indicates, they are used in the position of the subject, that is to say, before the verb in a sentence or in a clause. It is common to use them so as to avoid repetition. We must be careful with the following pronouns since they can be used with generic meaning. You, which means people in general, we can use one also in this case, but using one is more formal. They, which means people in general, excluding the speaker, and also the authorities. It, which means animals or babies whose sex is unknown, and finally we, which means people in general, including the speaker and also the listener. Next, we find the object form of personal pronouns. They are used as objects of verbs and also prepositions, as examples that you can see below. In addition to this, object pronouns must also be used after as and than in comparative sentences. And object pronouns should also be used in short answers to the questions who. Have a look at the following examples to illustrate these points. Possessive pronouns. Possessive pronouns do not take apostrophe. Possessive pronouns are different from possessive adjectives for 2 main reasons. Number 1, possessive pronouns refer to objects, not to the possessor. And number 2, possessive pronouns can stand on their own, while possessive adjectives cannot because they need a noun after them. Have a look at the following examples so as to illustrate this difference. Moving on, we find demonstrative pronouns. Demonstrative pronouns are used to point to things. These and these are used for things which are close to us, and that and those are used for things which are at a distance. Note here that demonstratives can also be used as adjectives. Once again, the difference is that when they are used as pronouns, they refer to objects and they can stand on their own. While when they are used as adjectives, they have to be followed by a noun. They cannot stand on their own. Moving on, we find reflexive pronouns. Reflexive pronouns are used after verbs or prepositions, as examples that you can see below. Reflexive pronouns are used when the person is both the subject and also the object of the verb. Have a look at these examples once again so as to illustrate this idea better. We also find here emphatic pronouns. As the name indicates, they emphasize a noun. Emphatic pronouns also emphasize the action of the subject. Emphatic pronouns usually go at the end of the sentence or right after the subject. Have a look at the following examples so as to understand this better. Even though emphatic and reflexive pronouns share the same form, it is important for you to distinguish that while reflexive pronouns show that the same person is the subject and the object, emphatic pronouns emphasize the speaker, emphasize one noun. In addition to this, the position of emphatic pronouns and the pronunciation they take is very important to understand the difference between one and the other. Next, we find reciprocal pronouns. There are only 2 reciprocal pronouns. Reciprocal pronouns show a mutual relationship. Sentences with reciprocal pronouns indicate that 2 or more people are carrying out an action and receiving the benefits or the consequences each other. The main rule is that in case you refer to two people, you must use each other, and in case you are referring to more than two people, you must use one another. Compare the following sentences. Moving on, we find indefinite pronouns. They are used when the object we are referring to is not specified. Indefinite pronouns used are always, sorry, followed by a singular verb and are formed using every, some, any, and none. To know how and when these pronouns are used, go to the reading section for this lesson. Having said this is the end of the lesson. On Thursday, we will be covering forms of other and practicing about pronouns. So, go to the reading section assigned for this lesson and have a nice day.